Hello everybody, Drew here, tip of the Mitt Flips, where I'm a full-time eBay reseller, and every 100 subscribers there's a giveaway. So if you're watching, make sure you subscribe so you have a chance to win. I almost tripped over something. That would have made for good content. Before I get to pulling, got a bit of a mess here. Let me go ahead and flip over to a clip where I explain said mess. I'll throw this bit in somewhere. I don't know where. Somewhere in the video. It's my pre-filming time of the day, because usually I try to get a decent amount of listing done, or maybe even all my listing done before I have to pull my orders and pack them and all that kind of stuff. I've been going through the records, and the dollars to effort, it's like the books, you know, if you got something better to list it. Because the problem I'm running into, though, because that doesn't have to be the issue, but in my case, the album cover does not mean that's what album is in the sleeve. So I'm having to pull, like I was just about to list a lot of Elvis albums. Not gonna look them all up. $2 a piece plus shipping. Just make sure it's right. And then they weren't right. So now I got to sit that pile to the side and then try to find those Elvis albums in some other sleeve. So it's gonna be slow going on the album. So I had day before yesterday, my dad was about to go on vacation. So I said, let me grab the rest of what I have at your house, you know, toys from my childhood, books from my childhood, just some stuff he wanted gone. Let me get all that, because you're going to be gone anyways, and that way I don't got to pop over your house while you're not there. Let me get all that stuff here, and then I can have some stuff to look through and figure out or whatever. So when I came to that with the albums, I said, scrapping that for the rest of this day. That'll just be something I work on slowly here and there. So I had a bucket of toys. I got really excited because first thing I found in there was this, which if you recognize this is a Pogs container. I had a large Pogs collection as a child, and in this Pogs container is where I kept the worst ones. So I still don't know where the better ones are. They were like in little sleeves, like you put your trading cards in. Can't find those. They'll pop up at some point. But basically, this will get listed as a lot with the container, $9.99 free shipping. No big deal. And then other stuff I had, already listed one of them, but these like truck, I got the fronts here too as well. It's not just the back end. Well, I have the front to this one somewhere. I don't know where, though. It's not sitting here. Again, something that I'll find at some point in some box somewhere. But I listed one already. I got this one I'll have to clean and ship. They're not worth a ton of money. This, if it was in better condition, I think is worth a decent amount. I got to look it up again. It's a RC car, but it's a corded remote, which is very weird. But this was the bag I'd been looking for a while, which I had this my entire childhood. I don't think I ever read that this was shoes, a shoe bag. I don't know, kids are kids. And then I looked it up just to be sure. I cannot find anything that is related to this shoe brand, but that's beside the point. What was in this bag was my childhood car collection. Hot Wheels, Matchbox, Off-Brand, all the above. Most of them, all of them, are not in great shape. They've been in a bag, they've been tossed around, they were played with for years. So not in great shape, but all of them are pre-1990s. Most of them are 70s and 80s, and I did a quick run through because it's what I was looking for. 3 of them were red lines. And even in this terrible condition, this is about $100 worth of Hot Wheels cars. So I'm very excited about those. Those will get listed today. If they were in good condition, they'd be $50 a piece if they were in really nice condition, which they're not, and most of these are not. But I mean, just those, about $100. And I'd say in here, I'm going to take the time and look up almost every one because of the age of them, but probably it's a rough estimate, but maybe a couple $100. I'm thinking no less than $9.99 free shipping each. And then if it's below that, they'll just all get thrown in a pile and I'll sell that as a vintage lot. But it was just something I had to do. The records were just dragging me down because it was just hiccup after hiccup, no big scores, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be just like the books. I got this area not filled, but filling up, and I'll get it about halfway full and I'll stop, and then I'll list a couple every day and just kind of chip away at it. Not something I'm going to rush to get done. And before I get to pulling orders, only 6 to pull today. Sales are still slow. I'm not going to keep talking about that. Everybody knows sales are slow. If your sales are not slow, congratulations. That is fantastic news, and I am happy for you. That is not sarcasm, even though it did sound like it. I don't need to talk about that all the time. When sales are slow, it is what it is. You keep plugging away. But before I get to pulling orders, it's time for tip of the day. And the tip of the day today is don't feel like you have to list something. Also, don't get tricked into listing something. Now, I'm not phrasing this right and wording it right, so let me just get to the point. That's probably what you're saying right now. Get to the point, Drew. I have been listing. Let me go ahead and get some. I always freak myself out when the camera gets real close. What are you doing there? Back it up. Let me go ahead and grab some I got listed. But this right here, this is a lot of, I don't know, 20 Jim Thome cards, a lot of, maybe 20-ish Greg Maddux. There's a Frank Thomas. There's, I don't know, a couple others. Next up, I got like a Carlton Fisk and a Cal Ripken Jr. These are all-time greats. These are Hall of Famers. These cards are not worth your time. They are not worth your effort. Do not go to a garage sale, go to a flea market, go to a thrift store, and see a book of cards, or see on Facebook Marketplace a lot of cards, long box after long box, and think, oh, I'm going to treasure hunt. I'm going to find the good ones. I know some of it's junk, but I'll find the good ones. It's not worth the time. The reason I'm doing it is because I collect them. I want to collect them. I like sorting cards because unlike the albums that are taking me crazy amounts of time and are tedious, or the books that are tedious, those tedious jobs I hate. But when I sort through the cards, that tedious job gives me joy. So just be aware that you are not going to make money selling cards. Because, and I don't mean everyone, I mean the general reseller, the person that doesn't have the knowledge or has a very small amount of knowledge or is just buying them on a whim. You're not going to make any money because the time it takes is going to be extreme. And the only way I am making some money is because my end game is not to make a bunch of profits. My end game is to sell 25 Jim Thome cards and go buy one Jim Thome card that's worth the same amount that I've sold them for. To just have less cards with higher value, less storing, higher value. I'm also using a service called ComC. Also, I send stuff off to get graded. I'm in that realm. That is a hobby that happens to cross over into my job, which makes it much easier because I'm already listing things, but I don't take up my day-to-day work time to list those cards. The next sets are sitting here for once my real work is done, I can list them and move on with my day, move on with things that actually make me money. So don't fall into the trap of because I sell it or because somebody else sells it, that you're going to make money. That's not always true. If you don't feel like listing it, you're not going to. Or when you're listing it, you're going to take more time than it takes, like these books and these albums. That's why I listed a couple lots today and a couple singles as well. And then I just called it quits with the albums because I could feel myself like dragging, like, ugh, this is the worst, da-da-da-da-da. So then my productivity drops out. So then move along. Unless you don't have something else to list, move along to something that you are going to list quickly and it's not going to be a drain and you're not going to not want to come back the next day. A little bit all over the place on that one, but just something that's been on my mind a little bit lately because I've been doing it. Also, how I list is going to completely change. I tested it out for a couple days. I'm sure a lot of you already do it this way. But for me, once you get a routine and how you do your job and it works, to switch that is a hassle. You got to change your mindset, change your schedule and stuff like that. And what I'm doing now is taking almost nothing but pictures during my workday. not listing anything. But the reason is because I list from my phone 75% of the time, 90% of the time, a lot, often. And I can find spare time throughout the rest of my day, sitting around watching some TV with the kids, laying in bed before I go to sleep. I'm tinkering around on my phone anyway. So that time I could spend putting up listings if I had the photos, because the hassle part for me is that I have to go into my garage, into my photo area with my lights and my setup and take photos. So I'm switching over to most of my day will consist of taking photos and packing orders, and then actually listing items will just happen when it happens. They're still going to get listed every day because these times I speak of, like lying in bed or sitting around with the kids watching TV, those happen every day. Over the weekend, football Sundays, when I'm watching a football game and I'm playing a game on my phone, because, you know, I could watch 3 games and play a game on my phone at the same time and pay attention to all of them. I could do the same thing listing if I had the pictures available. And again, there's a lot of people that do it that way. I just wasn't one of those people. I've always listed from my phone. I wanted the listing up immediately. Why would I wait around? It can't sell if it's not listed. But in the scope of things, I can list a lot more items if I photo first, have a bank of photos, and then just list whenever I have spare time. You know, taking a potty break. Could list a couple items. You know you're on your phone anyway. Things I did implement to try to keep that organized, because that was kind of the issue, is sometimes you're having to like zoom in on a picture to see a year or whatever. All details I'll need for the listing, even if I'm not going to use the picture, I take a picture of. Year, size, anything like that. Also, I weigh it. I take a picture of the weight on the scale. Then last, I do, because this was the part I was kind of worried about, because that's all encompassing with why I wasn't doing it, because all these details I needed. Where I put it in my organizational system, I was at first just going to pick a shelf, and for that day, that's where everything will go. But instead, what I did is, like this truck that I listed today, is I stood about here, snapped a photo, and I know what shelf that is. So now when I'm listing, I have the weight of the item. I didn't, but I will have to, because I didn't measure it and take pictures of measurements, but I could take my yardstick here, slap it on the table, or take a picture. Lots of people take a measurement in a picture for my own personal reference. But in general, I don't put measurements in most of my listings that are accurate. If it's going to ship priority, but I don't care to measure it, like I just know. At a certain point, you just know what kind of sizes. When I know it's going to ship priority, I put in 13, 13, 9. And the reason that is because that's a number 7. That's the dimensions of a number 7, and I know that ships at within the realm of USPS shipping sizes. So that's what I do. And then literally every other listing, first class, whatever, I just put in the weight and I go 888 for time, because I'm going to measure it again when I ship it, no matter what. Because what if the box I need, I don't have, and I got to use ones that's a little different? Or what if I'm out of a certain poly bag and I got to use a different poly bag? So I measure every item when I ship it, so that those dimensions don't matter. It only matters is if it's going to jump up to FedEx or UPS. Then I need a little more accurate, and even then, not so much. It's just going to be above the 13, 13, 9 threshold. So I think it so far has worked that this is going to listings per day go up. So that's my plan. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't really like it. I like starting something, going through the process, and being done with that item. I like that way. But, you know, doing stuff the best way available to you is not always the way you like the most. Well, let's go ahead and pull some orders. Jen's got a doctor's appointment today, so I need to get them done so I can ask her to take them to the post office. All right, first thing going out. Took a major offer. I was sick of looking at it. It is a Sony PlayStation 3 Slim right here, which is for parts or repair. And basically, I think I might have broke even on it. I'm not sure, but I don't even know if it works. I just didn't have any cords, and this face front was broke. So I said parts or repair. Clearly somebody was messing with it, so I'm assuming. But the reason it's a, because it's broken. But this is why it's a ridiculous offer, basically. Appears to be some moisture on this. It's because this controller alone is worth more than what they paid. And so I also don't know if that works, but either way, they got a fantastic deal. Point of the story, they got a good deal. $22 plus shipping for the two. They did leave me a note saying, please pack it well and write fragile on the box, that I'm guessing they repair them or something, and they've had some issues with people, because a lot of times people do that. For parts of repair, they just chuck it in a box because it's for parts of repair. If it gets there broken, they can't say anything about it. I didn't respond. I always pack my stuff well. I don't write fragile on anything because there is a possibility that a disgruntled employee of somewhere, if they're having a bad day, they see a box that's fragile, they might, be a little more mean than they need to be. I don't know. Possibility. But I don't think writing fragile on something actually helps them to be more careful. You should just always pack your things so that if they're not careful, it makes it. And then next up, it's a remote. It's a Dura brand. Haven't pulled a remote in a while. Yeah, this one right on top. It's a Dura brand remote right here, and that actually went to a TV I was using, and I still had the TV, but the TV was no longer of use to me, so I sold the remote. $14.99 free shipping. Next up, C1A is a Farberware rotisserie forks, and I have two sets. Are they both in this bag? I think they're both in this bag, so I'll separate them out. I'll double check when I go to pack though. And for the one set, I got $12 free shipping. Next up is a vintage Spalding tournament hickory wrapped, not hickory shaft. They are different, and the price reflects that greatly. So this is a hickory wrapped sand wedge. It's a wedge. It doesn't say, but that's a sand wedge. You could call it a pitching wedge if you want, maybe, but see, and you'll see the hickory is wrapped around a steel shaft, so therefore it is a hickory wrapped club. And for that, I took an offer, or it was on sale, $33.24 plus shipping. Next up, it's a book, Jungle Tales of Tarzan. Oh, alphabetical order, that helps. Jungle Tales of Tarzan, Edgar Rice Burroughs, $7.99 free shipping. And then a very cheap CD, Underage Thinking by Teddy Geiger. He was kind of a one-hit wonder. There we go. Teddy Geiger, Underage Thinking. That CD right there, I got $4.99 free shipping. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pack this stuff up. Might make the club the packing video for this week. Not sure. Because like I said, kind of under the gun because Jen has a doctor's appointment to get to. I am, though, very excited to start listing these Hot Wheels for two reasons. One, I found 3 red lines, which is great. Even though they're in terrible condition, that's still a decent amount of money. Number 2 is that I can list those anywhere. I could take a chunk of paper and just find a good spot with some normal daylight, and I could list them at my desk. I could list them sitting at the kitchen table. I could list them in the kitchen while I'm having my coffee in the morning. Small item, easy to list wherever I'm at. Also, I think it's going to be a little fun, because every single one of those I pulled out, it was a light switch turning on. I remember scooching this car around. It's kind of fun. These are ones I pulled out that I might keep, because I remember them fondly, but I don't know. It'll depend on price. These two are the same. This one's a little different. But all of them have some damage. Like this one, the windshield's missing. But it is still a 1981 Hot Wheels. So I'm guessing most of these are going to be in the $10 to $15 range each. And I got a lot of them. So that's good stuff. I needed a little bit better stuff. The books and the albums. That's a nightmare. I don't want any part of it. I just have to get them done, not the books, but the albums before summer, because if it makes it to garage sale season, they're never getting listed. I know me well enough to know that's a fact. Well, that's gonna be all for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. Subscribe, share, and be good to each other.